Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining me today on this, what is it? Friday, June 7th. Is that the day? Yeah, that is the day. One day, the numbers will work. June 7th. There we go. 2024. My name's Tom Coffey. This is Coffee Nuance Show. We're at Coffee and Nuance. That's right. And we're streaming live. We're live. I can see we're live right now on Rumble. We are live on YouTube. We are live on X. So that's cool. Let me make sure that I'm muted so we don't have any mute the tab. Okay. You can reply on X if you like. That's cool. And or on anything, and I'll be able to respond. So I'm just making sure that all of our tabs are muted. We're good to go. And let me fix the thumbnail, and we'll get to it. Upload thumbnail. Desktop. Okay. No. Maybe later. Maybe later. Okay, anyway, let's get to it today. Today we're going to talk about accountability versus censorship. Are they the same thing? Are they different? Is it in the eye of the beholder? Well, perhaps. Perhaps it is. But we got a couple people here. What's up, John? Tom, all I see is a screen with the Rumble logo. Oh, no. Oh, no. You should see. There we go. Oh, thank you. Idiot. Talking about myself. I'm still learning this. I thought it was good. All right, well, I should probably cut out the first 2 minutes of this. Oh, well. You're here now. I'm here now. Let's put this to the side and just get on with it because we're live. And I think this is an interesting topic that we're going to talk about today. So yeah, let's just get into it. There we go. Let's get the accountability versus censorship. Yeah. Let's talk about the recent firing of Briahna Joy Gray from The Hill. Now, I know there's been a lot of chatter about this with people screaming censorship, free speech, but let me clear something up right now. Getting fired for being a terrible human being doesn't mean you're being censored. It means you're being held accountable. Briahna Joy Gray, in case you missed it, got canned after a particularly despicable interview where she demeaned and disrespected the sister of an Israeli hostage. She didn't just cross the line, folks. She bulldozed right through it. This isn't about silencing a dissenting voice. It's about not giving a platform to someone who shows a complete lack of empathy and human decency. Now, Gray claims this is all about suppressing speech critical of Israel. But let's get real. This isn't criticism. This is about using a tragic situation to push a vile agenda, disregarding the pain and suffering of real people. Criticism is one thing. Spewing hate and disinformation, because that's what it is another. People like Gray are a reminder that evil does exist in the world. And I'm not being over the top. It's not just the obvious villains. It's those who cloak their malice in the guise of political discourse. They twist facts, spread lies, and then cry censorship when the consequences of their actions catch up with them. Free speech is a fundamental right, but it doesn't shield you from repercussions of being a terrible person. If you use your platform to push hate and division, don't be surprised when you're shown the door. That's not censorship. That's accountability. Now, we need to recognize these moments for what they are. Warnings. Grace firing is a reminder that our society has standards. And when you violate those standards, there are consequences. It's a wake-up call that evil isn't always loud and obvious. Sometimes it's insidious, creeping under the guise of the righteous indignation and political debate. So let's not confuse being fired for reprehensible behavior with being silenced for having an opinion. Grace firing is a victory for common decency. It's a lesson for us all. Just because you can say something doesn't mean you should. And if what you're saying is vile enough, don't be shocked when people decide they don't want to hear it anymore. In the end, let's remember that while we defend free speech, we also need to defend the principles of empathy, respect, and truth. Because without those, you're just shouting into the void. My name is Tom Coffey. This is the Coffey Nuance Show, the least watched, censored commentary and news show live. Right now, flame on. Yeah, so this was interesting. I'll just play you. Here's the eye roll that we're talking about.
All right, thanks for joining. Stick around.
And I guess we can put it in context. So here's the end of a long, over 20-minute video. This is not the only reason. The entire. Well, I'll just play this for context, and then I will talk about what happened in the interview.
Thank you. Me too. And I really hope that you specifically will believe women when they say that they got hurt.
All right. Thanks for joining. Stick around. More Rising coming up next.
All right. So, leftist commentator Briahna Joy Gray. She previously was Bernie Sanders' national press secretary. She was fired from The Hill following an interview where she demeaned the sister of an Israeli hostage and promoted Hamas narratives. Now, during the interview, Gray dismissed Yarden Gonen's pleas for her sister, Rami Gonen, a hostage in Gaza, and repeatedly blamed Israel for the situation, with critics accusing Gray of showing anti-Semitic contempt and disrespect toward her guest. In response, Gray claiming her firing was due to the Hill's suppression of criticism against Israel, a pattern she suggested had also led to the firing of another host, Katie Halper. Gray's termination was confirmed by The Hill, and she faced severe criticism for her comments and stance during the interview. But here's the thing to keep in mind with this. Now, I actually watch The Hill. I watch The Hill most days. What they do is they have a live program, and then they put out their segments on YouTube and other platforms. And I go through and I watch it, and I tell you why I watch it. And this is I watch it for Briahna Joy Gray. I do, because I like to hear what is kind of the left, like the woke left take on things. And I can always count on her of having the most representative, asinine reason for things. Now, one of the things that is very interesting with Briahna Joy Gray, and she's going to be fine for being fired for this. She's very talented. She's very smart. She's pretty. She's thin. She's well-spoken. And she has this ability to kind of control a conversation or a debate. One of the most talented communicators that I've seen. Now, she uses that talent to promote a bunch of BS, but she really is talented. And so she's going to land somewhere else and make probably even more money. So there's no need to worry about her. But this whole idea that she was fired for criticism of Israel, here's a challenge for you. Randomly pick a day between October 7th of last year and last weekend, randomly pick a day, go to the Hill and look at Briahna Joy Gray, and I will bet you she's criticizing Israel. She's done it every single day since the Hamas attack last year. Every day since then, she's talked about it every single day on her show. And she has been critical of Israel every single day. So I find it hard to believe that that is the reason that she was fired. No. She was fired for just being an absolutely atrocious, despicable human being, in my opinion. It was interesting. I did watch a debate with her about Israel-Palestine over the weekend, and it was hosted by Constantine, forget his last name. But anyway, apparently, when it was done, during the entire debate, Briahna Joy Gray would not answer a single question, talked over people, was very rude, and apparently said, "Oh, there's a bunch of, bigots in this audience, and, I hope they drop a bomb on this place." That's apparently what she said when she was leaving. Just a very, very rude person. But the thing is, if you're very pretty, if you're a pretty woman, somehow you're allowed to get away with this kind of stuff. People don't push back. And I think that people don't push back on Briahna Joy Gray for other reasons as well. You don't want to be called, anti-woman. You don't want to be called anti-black. There's lots of pushback that you could have for criticizing her, because that's kind of what she falls to all the time, right? Any criticism of her is, oh, you don't want to listen to a black woman. You won't have a black woman talk. That's kind of her regular defense for things. I like her. I think she's wrong about just about everything. But she's a lot more talented than I am at doing this type of stuff. She's really good. And in fact, she should be hired by someone. Now, it would be nice if she could use these skills for good rather than not. And but I tell you what it does. I haven't really given my take on the whole Israel thing. I don't even like talking about Israel ever. I just don't, because I don't feel like, we can be nuanced about these things, right? These are complicated matters, and I feel things get overly simplified so much that I don't think I could really share my opinion on it. But I tell you what, and this is the amazing thing, people like Briahna Joy Gray have got me to actually side with Israel. And if you know my opinions, that's a pretty incredible feat to do. But anyway, it is interesting that is the thing. It's like, oh, she's being censored. She's being censored. Oh, no, this was horrible. In fact, anyone could have predicted this, right? Someone should have predicted this, that like we're going to have the sister of someone who's currently a hostage in Gaza on the show. Maybe Briahna shouldn't be the interviewer, because she gets triggered by anyone defending anything that Israel does. And you should have some empathy. If someone in your family, your sister, is currently being held hostage, and if you think that someone is being well taken care of in Gaza as a hostage, I don't know what to tell you. I think you're the most naive person on planet Earth. And when you bring up really vile and disgusting things, if you say, oh, these terrible things could be happening to my sister, don't chime in and say, there's no evidence of that. It's cruel. It's cruel, shows a total lack of empathy and sympathy for victims, and it's disgusting. I'm kind of bummed that she got fired. Often when these people get fired, and when I mean these people, I mean people that are talented and they may cross a line. When they get fired, they end up being more successful anyway. So I suspect she'll go on to have even a bigger career. But anyway, that's just what's going on with that. The name of her podcast is Bad Faith Podcast. And it is rather ironic that that is the name of the podcast, because pretty much every take she does is in bad faith, in my opinion. But anyway, so there you go. That's my thoughts on that. Let me know if you have thoughts on this as well. If you liked watching The Hill, because I did. It was actually one of the programs that I watched. But here's the thing. I don't need to watch something because I agree with the person. In fact, I watched it because I disagreed with her. But also Robbie Suave, the libertarian on the show, who's just kind of a really weak guy, kind of the Combs to Briahna the Hannity, if you get that reference. But it's nice to hear different points of view that you might not get in regular mainstream places. And that's a good way to come up with opinions and to find out really what you think about something. Listen to a number of different views, and then you can pick and choose what you think is the most accurate or the best or the one that aligns with how you see the world. I think that that's a much better way than to just be in an echo chamber and just being assigned your opinion. And it's like, oh, I heard whoever it happens to be, that's the opinion, and that's my opinion too. And then I will just repeat this opinion. I don't know. I like the idea of listening to a variety of people. And so I'm going to miss Briahna Joy Gray. But she'll be back in no time, I'm sure. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Stick around. I will go through all of your comments. And yeah. And then we'll see if I can get the comments on the screen. I think I can. So here we are. I think look at this. Looks like I did an okay job. Oh, the after show, that's not working. So let me just make it the date. No. Yeah, that'll work. And then I guess we don't need her picture there, do we? No. We'll just skip it. There we go. Okay. So what's up, John? Free speech doesn't mean free reach. That's true. Got here late. Missed the mess. Yeah, so who did she talk? I missed that part. She was just very, very, very rude. And the thing is, if you're talking to someone and you don't agree with them politically, and that's okay, you don't have to do that. If someone's family is the victim and they're currently being held a hostage, I don't know, try being nice to them. You don't have to agree with them. Just try to be nice. And she wasn't. She was awful. On the inverse, at least, she was free enough to expose her terrible beliefs. Yeah. It's not just the beliefs. Like, here's the thing. People can have different opinions about what's happening over there. I happen to be against both sides when it comes to Gaza and Israel. I think they're both atrocious. I'm not saying that they're equal. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm keeping that to myself. Okay, but I don't like the way both of them are handling this thing. And falling into that binary that you have to choose a side. Nah, you don't. You can say they're both bad. Kind of like how I feel about some political parties. You know, if you're a person and you think all the Democrats are awful, well, you're halfway there. I would love to see a Breaking Point style matchup with her and Candace. LOL. They're both looking for work. They're both going to do fine. They're both going to do fine. And that's the thing. If boy, I tell you, if you're a really good looking person and you can communicate well and you're bright, now is the time now is the time for you. Yeah, I have no doubt that both of those ladies are just going to do fantastic. After COVID theater, it's hard to know what to believe and what to be skeptical about concerning Gaza theater. It is true. It's very difficult to know. The point of this is, though, if someone's poor sister is currently being held hostage, and maybe they say something that isn't true, I don't know. Maybe let it go and you can address it later. It's called being human. She's easier to stomach than all those harpies on The View. Well, the difference is Briahna Joy Gray is actually really smart. She's a very bright, capable person. That's not the case for the people on The View. It's the opposite of the people on The View. I like The Hill when that other chick was on, Kim Iverson. Yeah. Actually, I looked at Kim Iverson's take on this, and I disagree with Kim on this as well. Kim said, "Oh yeah, they kicked her off because she's anti-Israel." It's like, no, because she's been anti-Israel like since she started working on that program, and she's been saying negative, over the top things about Israel literally every single show since October. So I really don't agree that that's what it was. I think it was for being an awful, awful human being. And yes, it could be she was being an awful human being to an Israeli. Okay. But the fact of the matter is, you can disagree about it. It's, but it is how you conduct yourself. And frankly, I challenge you to watch it. It's a vile interview. I don't even want to put it out there for you to watch because it's not bringing you any joy. It's not bringing you any good in your life, to watch something that awful. But assigning of opinions is a powerful idea. I prefer the terminology being possessed by ideas because possession is something that is typically associated with ghosts. Okay, well, I'm not a ghost and I don't believe in ghosts, but I being possessed by an opinion, being assigned an opinion, it's an interesting idea. You aren't talking to someone who is possessed by an idea. You are talking by proxy to a person who created the idea. Only it is an unfruitful one-way conversation. Okay, fair. I think that Bree was totally unprofessional, and this is Shailin Singh. If I said your name right, I hope you did. Unprofessional and went over the line, putting this all under the guise of freedom of speech. Yeah, it wasn't under freedom of speech. Just own it. Just own it. You can say, hey, you know what? The Hill doesn't like my views on Israel. Okay, fine. But you got to own the fact that, like, you were terrible. And here's this is a lesson that I have learned, and this is a lesson that I was told by my dad probably 1,000 times. This is an important lesson. If you act like an asshole, people don't want to be around you. Okay? And in this case, that's what happened, right? One day I hope to have FU money to the point where I can get away with pulling a Scott Adams, LOL. I would love that as well. Look at the moon says, God bless Israel. I say, God bless the world. It would be nice to have FU money. But one of the things that I find very interesting is when people get to the point where they have so much money, like how much money do you need that you have to be a sellout? There are many people, and this goes into mind reading, and we can't read minds, but we can, project. There are lots of people that go on and on about certain opinions. I don't actually think they believe them, but they're stating those opinions because that's how they're making their money. But my point is, like, how much do you need before you can just decide, you know what? I'm just going to give you my opinion. And you may like it, you may not like my opinion. That's okay. I'm just going to be honest. At what point does it get to, like, how rich do you have to be to just be able to say what you feel? Now, clearly, I don't need to be a millionaire to say what I feel. But I think it's addictive. Once people start making a lot of money, they like it. And they don't walk away from that kind of money. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. The most free people in society live in the street. Maybe they're free. I don't know. I don't know that I'd agree with that. Yeah, I like being free. And frankly, I have not shared a lot of my opinions on this channel, frankly, because of the, I like having a channel, and many views would get the channel deleted. So I choose to keep that part of it to myself. But I get it. I totally get it. But yeah, I'd love to have FU money. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. But anyway, I just wanted to thank everybody for stopping by and sharing your thoughts. Look at the moon says, it helps to have no bills to be able to say what you want, no mortgage, no car payment, etc. It does make a difference. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Because the consequences of their actions do not harm their way of life. I don't think I could have said it any better. Thanks, Joe. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. I will be back on Monday, and who knows, maybe I'll have some, at least the beginning will be better. I'll be sure to have the camera on. Actually, the camera was on, but I don't know. I'm still learning how all this works. But anyway, if you made it this far, thanks for smashing the like button. It means something to me. Oh, yeah. So there we go. You didn't see, there we go. Yeah, one day I'll get 50 likes, probably after I get 50 views. That comes first. But anyway, we'll get there. We'll get there. Anyway, have an awesome weekend. Until next time. Peace.